there, drone fans. Rick here again from Drone Valley. Today I'd like to do a review of the brand new Homido V2 Virtual Reality goggles. Now, I've been a fan of this company for an awful long time. I actually purchased an early generation headset from them a while back, and I immediately fell in love with that headset based on the engineering behind it and the amount of care and attention they paid to all the features that they packed into that original headset. And I did a lot of comparisons between that headset and less expensive ones and more expensive ones, and I felt at the time that they were just head and shoulders above everybody else. I got the impression that the company really thought through the things that I care about as an owner of these goggles and tried to do everything they could to build it into that goggle set and really make a superior product. Now, the V2s are the latest iteration of their headset. This is a brand new product, and I was lucky enough to have the company send me a set of these for review today. I promise you that's not going to affect my opinion. I'm always honest about the things I review. But out of the gate, they've really tweaked almost every aspect of this headset to make it even better than that original version. Before I get into the features and functions of what make this different than everything else on the market, I thought I'd spend a minute talking about two broader questions. The first one being, why do I care about VR headsets? Why would I ever spend hard-earned money on a VR headset? It's a fair question. For me, there's a lot of different answers for that. I like to fly quads. If you're on this channel, you're probably a quad flyer as well. You may start soon experimenting, if you haven't already, with FPV flying, or first-person view flying. Now, I did a clip a couple weeks back talking about how you can use a set of goggles like the Homidos and actually put the Litchi app on your phone, slide your phone into the front of these, and fly FPV. And FPV is an incredibly immersive experience that puts you, like I said, in the cockpit of that quad. It's a very cool way to fly. These goggles do an excellent job of providing that video function for the FPV flying. The other side of that is that a lot of the content nowadays is moving towards a VR type of content or 360-degree content, whether it be TV shows or movies or YouTube channels, even games are moving into the VR realm. These headsets will accommodate all that type of content, and even if the show you want to watch isn't in a VR format, you can download applications that will convert it to a VR format and use it on here. Homido actually gives you the option to download an application called Homido Center, which will help you identify that content that you can then view through these goggles. So they've really broadened that space out there. The second question I get is, why would I ever spend more money for these than other goggles that are on the market? Because honestly, the market today is flooded with hundreds of companies that are building VR goggles. And a lot of those companies are in the market because there's an opportunity to make a quick buck. And the goggles they're putting into the street are not thought through, they're not sophisticated, they're really not built for the long term, and they're lacking a lot of the features that the Homido guys built into this goggle set. So I hope by the end of this review, you'll understand why these goggles are different than the other goggles and maybe why they're worth a little bit more money than some of the goggles that are on the market today. So let me get into the review now. So before I talk about the goggles, let me talk about what comes with the kit. So when you buy these goggles, they come in a really nice box. The outside of the box has got a lot of information about how to use the goggles, the features, things like that. The minute you open the box, you're going to realize it's got a carrying case in there. Now this is a really nice touch because most companies that sell you goggles make these kind of carrying cases available, but they charge you $14.95, $24.95. It's an additional expense beyond the goggles. Homido builds them right in. So when you open up the box, you got this carrying case with it. Really good job of carrying this. The minute you open the carrying case, you realize it'll house the goggles really well. There's a little pouch up top here where you can throw extra cables in there, other things that you may want to carry with you. It's got an instruction booklet in there that's written in a bunch of different languages that'll give you insight into every feature and function this headset has. You've got a spare set of face foam inside there. Now the face foam is the part that actually impacts up against your skin. It's the part that provides that pretty much dark barrier between the ambient light outside and the headset. This is really what makes that immersive experience very believable. It's nice that they include an extra set of these. You can order more of these on their website. This will last you a long time, so if you take care of this, it's not like this is going to tear or rip over time, but it'll last you quite a long time. But when you need to replace it, it's nice to already have a set there. The last thing they include, and again, this is the indication of what a company these guys are, is a cleaning cloth. Now you'd think, why would I need a cleaning cloth? Even though the goggles are protected and the lenses are buried deep inside, they over time could collect some dust or maybe smudging from your fingers and such. And it's nice to have a lint-free cloth like this that you can wipe them down and not scratch those lenses. So, you know, good on those guys for including those in the kit. Now, when you look at the goggles themselves seem like a very similar set of goggles to everybody else's goggles that are on the market today. But honestly, there's a couple of key differences that I'm going to point out as I go through this review that even if you consider other goggles, don't buy these just because I'm telling you they're great. Obviously, use what I'm giving you today to compare them to other goggles. But the first thing you're going to want to worry about is how the actual phone attaches to the goggles. Now, a lot of the companies out there today build goggles that are very specific for phones. So if you buy the Samsung goggles, they're built to handle all the Samsung phones. I think they have attachments to put other phones in there, but they're generically built mostly for the Samsung phones. These are built to fit any type of phone that's out there under a certain size. So some of the larger phones like the iPhone 6 Plus, some of the larger Samsung products will fit in here just fine. The smaller phones will fit in here just fine. And the nice thing about it is you don't have to buy additional cradles to put the phones in there. A lot of the headsets require you to buy a very specific cradle for your phone. They won't accommodate a phone with a case. And if you buy it for one phone and you trade your phone in, or you get a different phone, or a friend wants to use it, you can't put that phone in it, so it's a real mess. What Homido's done is actually built a very easy way to attach the phone. So the front of this actually flips down, it's magnetically attached, there's no little plastic catch to break off, it's magnetically attached, and all you have to do is extend these little fingers. You can see these fingers expand, they'll handle almost any size phone. You just drop your phone inside there, close it up, and you're ready to go. The other thing that's really nice about it is if you look closely in the end, you can see the gap on the end. That's important because you may have to connect a charger to your phone while you're using it if you're playing a game or you're going to be using it for a long period of time. A lot of the headsets don't give you a nice little clearance there. So what ends up happening is the front stays open and it screws up the perspective of what you're looking at. So the fact that I can close it and it's completely enclosed and I've still got a slot to connect up a power connector is pretty nice inside that unit. A couple other things you want to be aware of. The first one is there are two adjustments that should be on every set of headsets that are out there, and a lot of them don't have it. The first one has to do with what's called an IPD distance. It's interpupillary distance. Everybody's face is different. Everybody's eye positioning is a little bit different as far as how close or how far they are apart. If I built a set of goggles that just locked the lenses in at a particular distance apart, that would work for a lot of people, but it wouldn't work for everybody. And then you're squinting, sort of trying to make the adjustment with your eyes. You're going to get a headache and you're going to get dizzy. So this unit has on the bottom an IPD distance adjustment. What that means is when I vary this, it's going to take the two lenses and move them either out or in, so I can dial in just that exact perspective to give me a crystal clear focus on what I'm looking at. That's super important because even if it's close and you don't realize it, but your brain's making the adjustments to make it in focus, that strain and that extra work your brain's got to do will slowly over time probably introduce a headache into the situation, and that's not a good place to be. You want this to be comfortable. So that IPD adjustment right there means that you can zero in at exactly the right distance between your eyes. The second adjustment, which a lot of the headsets don't have, and I get this question an awful lot, has to do with what's called immersion. And it has to do with how far the phone is away from your face. And that is really an adjustment that pertains to nearsightedness or farsightedness. A lot of people ask me the question, do I have to wear my glasses inside the goggle sets? These are big enough where you can actually wear your glasses inside there if you choose to do that. I'm nearsighted, so I find that I don't need to use my goggles. I can use that immersion adjustment, which is right on the top, to make the adjustment to how far that phone, you probably can't see it moving, but it actually pushes the phone further away or closer in based on how that's adjusted. So the first thing I do is the IPD adjustment to make sure my eyes are perfectly aligned with the lenses. The second thing I do is pull the focus for my eyes for nearsightedness to give me that crystal clear picture. So those two adjustments in themselves are a major advantage with this headset over everybody else out there. Some have the IPD. I haven't seen a lot of them that have the immersion adjustment. If they do, it's a really clunky pull the front out and try and move it with your fingers. The challenge with that is if I bump it, it's going to move again. By having these two adjustment dials, it means you're going to dial it in, it's going to lock in that position, you're good to go. All right, the next thing you want to concern yourself with is the immersion, right? This whole experience has to be fooling your brain into thinking it's in a different environment. It's in this virtual reality environment. The two things that'll blow that for you are if the headset is heavy. You've seen a lot of these headsets that are gigantic and they probably give you a pretty cool picture, but over time the weight of that's going to weigh down on your head. So you want to make sure your headset has a top strap. What's nice about the Homido is it's actually included with the kit. So this head strap, you can pull it off if you don't want to use it. Sometimes you don't need the upper headset, but I like using the head strap on there. But the head strap up top sort of distributes the weight a little better around your head and makes it much more comfortable to wear, so it's not actually pushing down on your nose over time and giving you that nice little divot on your nose. The other thing is the quality of the foam and the amount of surround of your face of the foam that's included. This foam is very, very comfortable. You can wear it for long periods of time. It actually has the ability that, as you, and this is a little disgusting, but as you use this, you're going to sweat a little bit. This foam lets that excess moisture out of the headset so it's not fogging up the lenses. I showed you before, it's very easy to change that as well, so you can pull this off and put the new one on when you need to. If you want to order more of them, you can get them on the website. But having a foam that is soft enough to cradle your face without irritating it, but yet dark enough that it actually blocks out all that ambient light. That's a tricky thing to do, and when I evaluated a lot of other headsets, that's the one place they fell apart. Was I put them on and they felt comfortable initially, But as I'm playing a game or I'm flying FPV, little bits of light would leak in on the ends when I move my head a little bit, and it would kind of just ruin that whole experience for me. So the Homidos have done a great job of contouring the headset so it fits around your face comfortably and it touches your face softly, but it blocks out all that extra light. So that's a really big advantage there. So those are just some of the things you want to worry about. The last thing I'll talk about, which wasn't apparent to me until I started playing with this for a little bit of time, is I talked about virtual reality content and flying FPV. I talked about 360 view videos where you can turn your head and sort of do, adjust your position based on your head. The third one, which is starting to become extremely popular, are games and some content that's augmented reality. And what augmented reality is it's not a fully immersive experience. It's basically projecting some image in front of you, but it's using the camera from your phone to look at the real world as well. So you'll see that on like tours of buildings and stuff, that if you're in an immersive experience that's augmented reality, maybe you're looking at a statue or you're looking at a piece of art, and then it'll actually broadcast information about that below. So it's augmenting the actual reality of what you're seeing. It seems kind of dumb that you're looking in a set of goggles to see what's right in front of you, but having that augmented reality means that you can actually get more information about the piece of art or statue you're looking at. Most goggles can't accommodate that. What's nice about the Homidos is they thought that through. This front part actually pops off. You can pull this right off the goggles. I don't want to break it, so let me just take a second here. But this actual blocking piece right here in the front comes off the goggles and gives you that immersive experience. So you can see that now your camera is looking at what you're looking at, so you're getting that first-person view of what you're looking at, but you can also, on the camera, or I should say on the screen, have the augmented reality information listed to explain what that picture's about, maybe details about the artist that painted it, or the statue, who the original sculptor was for that particular statue. With games, a lot of the augmented reality games will use the environment you're in and superimpose images on it. So it's a radically different experience if you've never done it before. But again, what I'm blown away by with these guys from Homido is they've really thought through. People are going to use it for VR, they're going to use it for FPV flying, they're going to do 360 video in it, and they may want to use it for augmented reality. There are very few companies that give you the ability to pop off that front protective plate and actually use this for augmented reality. So again, kudos to these guys. So the last thing I'll talk about is really the price point. When I talk about these things, I really want to spend a lot of time talking about what the features buy you. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention too was the field of view. So the field of view on most reality or virtual reality goggles is pretty narrow. It's maybe 80 degrees or 90 degrees. So you get kind of a wide field of view. These are some of the widest field of view goggles I've seen. They've got over 100-degree field of view, which means you've got a very wide picture. The reason that's important is because the narrower it is, the less real it seems. So the further it broadens out to 100 degrees or even higher, but 100 degrees in this case, gives you a much more immersive experience. It feels like you're pulling forward where you can almost have your peripheral vision taken up by that view. So 100-degree FOV, which is really, really good. So the price. The only detraction I have on this headset, and it's a small one, is they're more expensive than a lot of headsets on the market. They are not the cheapest headset that I've tested. They're certainly not the most expensive headset I've tested. I'll be honest, I've tested headsets that are $100 more than these retail that weren't anywhere near as good. So don't let the price fool you. So the only detraction I've got, if I'm going to do the review honestly, is they're a little more expensive than most of the headsets that are on the market today. But for me, for something I'm going to use a lot and something I'm going to have on my head for a long time, it's worth the extra couple of bucks to do this headset. So that's just my 2 cents. And again, please do your own comparisons side by side. But I feel like, or at least I hope, that the features I've talked about really separate this from a lot of the headsets you're going to look at. And I want you to be very, discerning when you look at those other headsets. Make sure you've got the IPD adjustment, you've got an immersion adjustment. The front of this opens and closes very easily. You don't need some kind of wonky tablet adapter, phone adapter to slide the phone in there. It should just fit in there naturally. An added benefit would be the fact that you can do augmented reality with the headset like you can with the Homidos. So again, all the pros are there. The only con, again, is the price. For me, that's a small issue because it's not that much more expensive than the other headsets out there. But again, you've got to be the judge on that. So that's all I really wanted to talk about today. If I've missed anything, you have questions about the headset, drop them in the comments below and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. Thank you very much for watching. I'm hoping you're finding value in these reviews. I'm having a good time doing them, and hopefully they provide value to you guys watching them. So once again, thanks an awful lot for watching, and have a great day. Happy flying.